Hey everyone, what's up? This is Caleb from Caleb Watches Movies, and I wanted to give everyone just a quick little update on the YouTube channel, how everything is going, and because of you, because of every single one of you out there that has subscribed to Caleb Watches Movies, you have allowed me to hit my goal of 627 subscribers by the end of 2019. That is amazing. I actually never thought it would happen. Last year, I think we were half of this. So being able to hit 627, kind of a random number that my wife threw out there of like a goal that I would achieve by the end of 2019, the fact that we hit that, it means so much to me, and it means so much that I have so much support out there. So thank you everyone who has subscribed and has sent people over to me, over to this channel. You have made this dream, this hobby of mine to just kind of sit down and talk about movies, things that I love talking about. You've given me the opportunity to do that, and the fact that so many of you out there are responding to it and supporting me, it means so much. So thank you very, very much. Let's get to today's video. Again, thank you. If you know anyone else that can head on over, we're working our way towards 1,000, so if we hit 1,000, I will watch Arachnophobia, which is, it's a terrible movie. I have severe anxiety towards arachnophobia myself, so yeah, if you want to see me torture myself, send people my way. Let's hit 1,000 subscribers. Can we do it by the end of 2019? I don't know, but I have a lot of faith in you. Again, thank you very much for 627 subscribers this year. Next year, we're just going to keep on growing. I'm going to keep doing this until I can't do it anymore. Thank you so much. Be good to each other and enjoy the video. Right? My vote is with the people. And I will continue to serve this great country at the pleasure of myself. And if I have proven anything, is that you can always count on me to pleasure myself. Iron Man 2, released in 2010, and it's directed by Jon Favreau, who's behind the other Iron Man movies. He also plays Happy Hogan in all the Iron Man and Spider-Man and Avengers films. He's also behind all of those live-action Disney film remakes. They call them live-action, but the only thing that was live-action between The Jungle Book and The Lion King was Mowgli in The Jungle Book. Everything else is 100% CGI, so it's not really live-action. And this film stars Robert Downey Jr., Gwyneth Paltrow, not Terrence Howard, Scarlett Johansson, Mickey Rourke, and Sam Rockwell. Iron Man 2 picks up right where the first Iron Man left off. Tony Stark has proclaimed to the world that he is, in fact, Iron Man. And now the US government wants to get their hands on the Iron Man technology because it's seen as a major weapon. But lurking in the shadows of Russia comes Whiplash, the son of a former employee of Stark Industries. And apparently he is able to replicate the Iron Man technology. And thus begins the long string of very terrible Marvel villains. That's the running joke, right, of the MCU. All the heroes are great, our lead actors, they're fantastic, but when it comes to the villains, no, not so much. Besides, like, Thanos, of course, he's the big baddie of the entire MCU at this point. You got Killmonger in there, you have Michael Keaton in Spider-Man. As of this recording, I'm not counting Loki as a villain because he turned out to be, like, an anti-hero. We'll see how that Disney Plus TV show portrays Loki. All the other ones, though, very forgettable. Some of them are very forgettable twice, Ronan. But I think they all started with Whiplash. Yes, before this, we had two other MCU films that came out. We had the first Iron Man, where Jeff Bridges plays Obadiah Stane, and we had Tim Roth, who plays Abomination in The Incredible Hulk. And are they strong villains? No, not really, but I think they're definitely passable. Whiplash in this movie is definitely not passable. And that was one of the big stinks coming out of this movie because Mickey Rourke was very vocal about how pissed off he was at how his character was portrayed. He spent all this time researching, developing this character. Apparently he shot a lot of scenes for this movie that just ended up on the cutting room floor, which, hey, that happens. Actors have no power over that. That's all over the producers, the director, and the editors. But coming from a personal standpoint, I see where Mickey Rourke is coming from. If I'm busting my ass and I'm doing all this work and there's nothing to show for it on screen, yeah, I'd be pissed off too. And when Whiplash shows up, he's basically the mustache-twirling, stereotypical villain. I want revenge for what you did to my father. You have an empire. You are a billionaire. This should have been me. Your father outdid my father, and now I am here kind of in a little shack with my little bud. building my own reactor. I feel like the Russian wrestler from the Netflix series Glow. Oh, you stupid Americans! Ah! Because that character's not far off. But really the big takeaway from this movie, and really this entire Iron Man franchise, is, hey, Robert Downey Jr. he's fucking amazing as Tony Stark. If there is a reason why the MCU is so successful today, it is because it was built on the back of Robert Downey Jr. The swag, the confidence, the home run, the grand slam that was the first Iron Man. When Iron Man was being produced, it was coming out, I was thinking, okay, this is the next superhero movie. You know, they gotta keep bringing us the new ones, so sure, let's go ahead and check this one out. And it turned out to be amazing. And it still holds up as one of the best MCU films to date. And that first Iron Man was so successful that Marvel Studios, they wanted to get this MCU, the shared universe, going. Because at the end of the first Iron Man, there was that little tiny tease. Before people knew to stay after to watch the credits for an MCU film, we have Samuel L. Jackson showing up as Nick Fury talking about, hey, I want to talk to you about the Avengers Initiative. Oh, well, what are we avenging? Whatever the fuck we want. So they had a goal. They knew that they were working towards the first Avengers film, but they had to get all of these next major films out of the way. So they went back to Jon Favreau, who directed the first Iron Man movie, and said, hey, you know, could you put this out like next year, please? And they fast-tracked the heck out of this thing. And it shows. First off, though, Robert Downey Jr. as Tony Stark, I mean, it doesn't get much better than that. He was a down-on-his-luck actor. He had been arrested, substance abuse, assault too, just not a good guy. But that's why I felt the first Iron Man was so enjoyable, because we were seeing this character, Tony Stark, going through a type of transcendency, through a rebirth. He morphed out of his old terrible ways and now is a more matured philanthropist trying to help people that he put in harm's way. And the arc that Tony Stark has in the first Iron Man is beautiful. And then we open up with Iron Man 2, and it feels like we have totally ignored the major arc and the major change that Tony Stark went through in the first Iron Man movie. One of the first scenes of this film is him in the press conference, and he is mouthing back to all the state representatives wanting him to trade over the Iron Man armor. And his responses, the way he conducts himself, he is acting like the Tony Stark of old. What happened to the reborn Tony Stark here? He starts off as the playboy Tony Stark, and the arc that was felt in the first Iron Man movie is never felt again in this one. He stays a pompous asshole throughout the entire film. And it just comes to a point in the movie where you sit back and go, God, this guy's a dick. Can we just get to the Avengers, please? Actually, that mentality is how I felt that everyone felt about this movie. Everyone just wanted to get that second Iron Man movie out of the way. We want to remind everyone, hey, we have an Avengers film coming out, so we have an idea of what we're moving towards now, so here we go, and then we got some other ones coming out next year. But because this film is funny, it has a lot of humor, it has a lot, just a ton of jokes, that I feel people give it a pass. And I'm not one to give it a pass just because it has a lot of snarky, sarcastic humor in it, even though I love that. Don Cheadle shows up for the first time in the MCU as War Machine. One of the best recasting intros ever, in my opinion. He comes into the press conference and Tony Stark is taken aback. Wow, I wasn't expecting you to be here. He just walks up to Tony and says, yeah, you weren't expecting, but I'm here now. Let's move on. Yes! That is what I want to tell every fanboy out there that freaks out about any type of recasting. Batman. Don Cheadle replacing Terrence Howard, of course, from the first Iron Man movie. Terrence Howard, from my knowledge, wanted to return to Iron Man 2, but was also asking for a lot of money, and the studio was like, yeah, you play War Machine. Back off. And we have our first introduction of Scarlett Johansson as Black Widow. 2010 is when the character was introduced into the cinematic world, and she is finally getting her solo film 10 years later, next year in 2020. I'm sorry, but does anyone else realize just how stupid and sad that is? People love to compare Marvel versus DC all of the time, and if I were going to do that here, I would say that DC is way more embracive of their female characters than Marvel is. Marvel is starting to turn the tides and embracing their female superhero characters more, but like I said, 10 years for a female superhero introduced into the MCU to have her own solo picture. That's just wrong, I'm sorry. Because Scarlett Johansson is an amazing actress. And how they introduce Black Widow in this movie, I'm not a huge fan of. She was basically seen as, oh, yes, you are the female superheroine here, so yeah, we'll give you the low-cut jumpsuit, and we'll give you all the fun, flirty, girly lines in the movie. God, So sad. It definitely took a turn for the better in the first Avengers film, though. I guess really with that concept, it felt like they were just throwing everything in here and there was no structure to the story at all. As a matter of fact, the dialogue in here seems very improvised, which I know that was the major thing with the first Iron Man movie. The studio said, hey, you have a budget, you can either build an Iron Man suit or you can spend the budget on a script. What do you want to do? And Favreau said, I'm going to build the Iron Man suit and I'll just make an outline for the script. You got magic the first time. This time around, though, no. Scenes that just kept rambling on and on and on, and I'm going, what's the point of this scene? What are the point of these lines? I feel that this scene is just the actors with a huge-ass head because they realize how amazing the first movie was, and they're just portraying their arrogance on screen. I don't know about you, but as an audience member, I don't find that a good time. This film has a lot of issues. The script is a problem. The action sequences in here, not very impressive. And it just seems like they're shoehorning in all of these cameos and little Easter eggs of, oh, hey, that's going to lead to this movie, and that's that character. We may see them in Avengers. Oh, God. Ugh. I'm sorry, but I need a little bit more substance in my superhero movies than just fun little cameos and Easter eggs. Are those cool? Yes, of course they are. But because they're in there doesn't mean that I'm going to love this movie. You know, it's funny how people are very quick to judge the DC universe or the DC extended universe, whatever they're calling it, on the first couple of movies that they produced in their cinematic universe. And I just wanted to remind people that, well, the MCU didn't have that swell of a start either, if you recall. Iron Man, yes, grand slam, hit out of the park. Man of Steel wasn't well received by the majority of people. It was kind of like 50-50. I find that movie to be a masterpiece. And then the second movie in the MCU is The Incredible Hulk, which is the forgotten film of the MCU. No one talks about it. Nothing is referenced from it. The only thing that we get from it is William Hurt. The DCEU's second film is Batman v Superman. And I'm sorry, but I really enjoy that movie. The Ultimate Edition, let me clarify. An interesting twist on the superhero genre, presenting something that people were not expecting and kind of turning the superhero genre on its head in some cases. I think it's very thought-provoking. Third film in each franchise, Iron Man 2 and Suicide Squad. Both shoehorning a lot of things in both of their movies. They both have a major actor that was upset because a lot of their stuff was cut from the final product. And both films are typically hailed as the worst in both movie franchises. So it's interesting to see how, because the MCU is older, how we were more forgiving back then, but now that we have the MCU and we have stellar continuity and stellar films that are being produced by them, that when the DCEU tries to get off the ground, everyone's like, no, you gotta be more like Marvel! What's wrong with you? You should be putting out masterpieces by now! 3 films in, and in terms of quality-wise, I think we're on the same page. Actually, DC, I think, is a little bit higher in that regards. Also higher in the box office, too. The Marvel-DC argument, that's always a fun thing to bring up. Me, I'm a superhero guy. I don't have a bias towards either of them. Give me a good product. Iron Man 2, not a good product. I'm going to give Iron Man 2 1.5 out of 5 Blu-rays.
No, sir, I didn't like it.
Alright everyone, now comes my favorite part in my videos where I pick which movie I'm going to be watching next. And the next movie comes as a recommendation from one of my fans and subscribers, Disney65 Fan. You have been around since the beginning, really, and you're always commenting on all of my videos, so thank you very much. You recommended many things, but I picked this one out of the bunch, Anastasia. A movie that I have never seen before. I remember seeing the trailer a bunch growing up. I remember there was a girl with like a fur coat going, "It's me, Anastasia." But that's it. That's all I remember. So thank you very much, Disney65 Fan, for the recommendation. If any of you have recommendations of films that you want me to review on here, please leave a recommendation below this video, or go to my Facebook page, my Instagram, or my Twitter. Leave a recommendation there, and if I have access to it, I will watch, review it, and give you a shout on the channel. So everyone, have you seen Iron Man 2? What did you think about it? And where does it fall on the pecking order for you when it comes to the MCU films? Please comment below, let me know. And if you like what you saw here, if you like my take on movies, then hit that subscribe button. It helps me out a lot. We have reached our goal this year of 627 subscribers. I can't tell you how much that means to me. I had that goal since the beginning of the year, that we would hit 627, just a random number. I think it was double of what it was at this time last year. So thank you very much for the support. If you have friends, if you have family members that like people talking about movies, if you just like talking about movies in general, then send them over my way and hit the subscribe button. Now, if we keep this going and we hit 1,000 subscribers by the end of 2019, I will reward everyone by torturing myself in watching Arachnophobia, which I don't want to do, but gosh darn it, I will do it for you. So everyone, I will see you next time with my review of Anastasia. So in the meantime, be well, be good to each other, and go watch a movie. Take care, guys.